Hi, my name is Colbert and let's start with Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. Original game of Amalur was released in 2012, but the brand new remastered version came out in 2020s with shiny brand new graphics and a bit smoother movement. At least they advertised the game like that, but when I played the old version, movement was great, I had no problems. Although I put this game into this list, not only it's an open world RPG, but because one of the creators is Elder Scrolls Oblivion's and Morrowind's lead designer Ken Rolston. You may not know him, but the guy knows how to make great looking characters, gameplay, and also knows how to not make a shitty game. He covers all three sides of the development coin. Yeah, it has three sides, deal with it. Although, be careful before buying. Some people are encountering game-breaking bugs where you have to manually alter your save files to fix stuff. And you don't want things like that in your life. You need boobs and booze, not some save file fixing action, jeez. So read the comments carefully before making any decisions, but in general the game has 74% of positive reviews, meaning that 3 out of 4 people are really happy with the purchase. Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen. This is a massive, challenging action RPG that drops players into a vast open world full of different creatures and characters. Game was a bit underrated when it initially came out. Even I left it out from my annual games like Skyrim list once and had a bad time in the comments then, but now the game is regaining its glory and I've heard that the second part is in the works as well. Dragon's Dogma shares its open nature with games like Skyrim and Witcher 3, but it has more strategy and more dynamic fights. It's a tougher game in general, but if you like to explore the open world and love fantasy games, you will probably like this game as well. Although, be warned. Yeah, I know that you don't like this part, but my reviews aren't just sweet sugar, I add some salt as well. So Dragon's Dogma is a Japanese creation and it comes with all advantages and disadvantages of that. You know, like most of the heroes are anime-like beautiful faced younglings. For me it's ridiculous, I want to play as beardy, fat, 60-year-old Viking with giant axe all the time, but it is what it is. Two Worlds. If you'd listen to what people are talking about this game, you would see a strange pattern. Almost everyone who played the game said that they enjoyed it very much, and you can see these words even on negative reviews they leave. You may think, what is this nonsense? If you enjoyed the game and spent 95 hours on it, why do you leave a negative review?
What, are you fucking retarded or something?
And then you read further and see terrible things. For example, a guy was doing only side quests for 19 hours, and in his words, he discovered that certain tasks in the side quest must not be completed before certain other tasks in the main quest. Or you break your entire experience and the game can't progress and there is no way to fix it. So by doing some side quests, you may break the game. Well, you will break the game. Which is a very nice game. Despite bugs and from time to time lame dialogues, it has 76% of positive reviews, so there is a way bigger chance that you will like the game than the chance that you'll hate it. Anyway, the best description of Two Worlds I found was Oblivion on steroids. It looks good, but those muscles are kinda fake. The game is cheap, only 10 euros and it's yours, but if you wait for a sale you can probably get it for the price of a beer can. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. This is probably the greatest open-world fantasy RPG ever created. For me, and to be honest, for most Elder Scrolls fans, it lacks only one feature: first-person view. It would be even more immersive if we could explore the world not from above Geralt's head, but see everything straight from the Witcher's eyes. And there is a mod for that, and it works. Not as good as the original third-person view, especially when you are in a fight, but it's really worthy of your attention, and it changes the game, at least for me, a big time. You can see the footage from the mod right now, it's amazing, isn't it? Mod is called Gervant First Person and you can find it on nexusmods.com. It was already downloaded by about 10,000 Witcher fans, which is a lot. And the game itself is a masterpiece. I say that not just because I blindly like the game, no, it has 2 features almost no other game has. At first, it has exceptionally good writing. I mean, you don't want to skip the stories or dialogues here. They are so good you will start using the phrases you have heard in the game in your daily life. Yeah, I use that one a lot. And the second feature is the combat. It's really satisfying and entertaining. You will never get bored by these dances with the swords, so in this way no part of the game is boring. Talking is awesome, fighting is awesome, and in between those two you will find an incredibly beautiful open world binding everything together. Witcher games are very often discounted on GOG because GOG belongs to CD Projekt Red, the developers of The Witcher. So check my link in the description below, maybe you'll get lucky, maybe not. In any case, it's still more expensive than your sister. Kingdom Come: Deliverance. The game itself is basically a realistic Skyrim set in medieval Europe. It has a great story, interesting missions, and really beautiful world of medieval Czech lands. So grab your sword and show everyone who's the real boss of Czechia is.
Spoiler alert!
Not you, because at first here you are a very lame and puny boy. The harsh reality of a level 1 villager who decided to become a warrior is not very pleasant. But you will learn and armies will fall to your feet sooner or later. Probably way later. Anyway, people on Steam and GOG are talking that Kingdom Come has a great plot and characters. Many mention the fact that this is a great game story-wise and is comparable even to the third Witcher. In my opinion, it's the highest compliment any game can receive. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Here you'll go behind enemy lines to forge your army, conquer fortresses and dominate Mordor from within. Experience how amazing Nemesis system creates unique personal stories with every enemy and follower, and confront the full power of the Dark Lord Sauron and his ringwraiths. Cool thing is that most of the time you will feel like an overpowered combat god, but the game still manages to throw some challenges at you and test your might. Sometimes a bit too strongly, and then you die. Then you have to remember that you came here to dominate and not to be puny and lame, so put your shit together, put it in a bag so it's together and, you know, stop dying, get good. The people on Steam are joking that the Nemesis system here makes up better stories than the actual main story of the game. Also keep in mind that the Shadow of War is a bit grindy and may, you know, grind your gears if you're not a fan of such things. In any case, killing orcs is fun. You know, life will win over death and the light will win over darkness. Elex 1 and 2. Alright, so Elex and Elex 2 are made by the same people who created Gothic games, and if you are an old school gamer, that information should spark real interest into your heart. The novelty which distinguishes Elex 2 from the first game the most is an entire system of aerial combat, with all its benefits including enemies with an improved AI. That is what developers are saying, but actually for me all the enemies feel kinda dumb anyway. So along with these improved adversaries in Elex 2 we get more weapons. You'll get everything from bows to rocket launchers, from swords to chainsaws. You can also decide whether you want to specialize in one combat style or maybe combine them into a mishmash of, you know, space fantasy ninjutsu, kung fu, aikido, Drunken Master, what karate. So anyway, both games are kinda similar, although Elex 2 feels like a bit improved version of the first title, almost everywhere except the plot. Especially in the second half of the game. I won't be ranting about the need of hiring a new head writer, but hey dude, you could do better. Anyway, in Elex 2, just like in the first Elex and in real life, you will be able to join various groups and factions. You will start as a freelancer, and in this way you will get familiar with all of them. And later, in the endgame, you know, you will become some archmage warrior king of eternal power who will not care about anything, but until then, your words and actions will have dire consequences, and I have to stress out that here you will find multiple endings as well. You probably won't even bother to watch them all on YouTube, but it's nice that they are here anyway. Both games have mostly positive reviews on Steam, so wait for a sale and then snatch them both from this ripe gaming tree to your personal account. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Here you will put on the shoes of a legendary Viking warrior on a quest of glory and explore England's dark ages as you raid your enemies, grow your settlement and build your political power. Yeah, this is one of the most innovative Assassin's Creed games, and the Nordic theme of Vikings may be really interesting to Skyrim fans. You know, because of that famous main protagonist helmet with horns that no Viking ever wore in battle ever. Also, I want to stress out that you can't buy it on GOG or Steam. It's available only on Epic Store, and that's probably why I feature it so rarely on my channel. You know, I like to read what other people are saying, check the review score Simple Folk left, and I can't do that on Epic. It sucks as a story lot. So this time I had to go to Metacritic. I haven't done that in ages. I think it's kinda dead as a website. Anyway, Valhalla has 7.5 user score out of 10, so really not bad. People there are talking that Valhalla is a better game than previous Assassin's Creed titles, and they mean Origins and odyssey, although it is far away from the top predators of the genre, such as Third Witcher or even Skyrim by the quality of the story and characters. Also, no boobs for you here. Viking game without boobs. What is this blasphemy? Anyway, it is still a nice title, but wait for a sale or something. It still costs 60 euros without one. Outward. This is an open-world RPG experience coupled with survival gameplay which you can play solo or online in co-op mode. Main story will burn about 30 hours of your life, and with DLCs be assured to sacrifice at least another 20. Gamers on GOG are recommending to play this game without any research, just dive in and explore. This game is full of secrets, puzzles, and it's literally awesome. Although many complain about the difficulty of the game, it's not Dark Souls hard, but I won't be lying if I tell you that it's kinda close. You will not die so many times as in Souls games, but you will die enough times to get frustrated. It's like playing Third Witcher on hard, just without any experience. In general, Outward doesn't really care about wasting your time. You will have to spend a lot of time googling stuff or installing various mods that increase quality of life. That's one of the reasons why this game has only 74% of positive reviews at the time of creating this video. Despite that, if you have a friend, play this game together. You can do it even on split screen, and the experience of that is out of this world. Dragon Age Inquisition. Some call this game Fantasy Mass Effect, and there is a reason for that. Here you have a team of heroes and you can control all of them. Game is plot driven, has a deep and interesting storyline and great characters who will provide you with many hours of fun. Most fans of the franchise like Dragon Age Origins more than Inquisition, but somehow I have no nostalgia for Origins and I like Inquisition more.
Blasphemy!
Yeah, but that's maybe because Inquisition is more dynamic and I have never used the pause game ability while playing it. I literally forgot which key does that and I never used it. Several years later I did the same with the Outer Worlds. I finished the game and only then I saw someone else's video showing that you can slow time in there. I never even knew. So Origins is more like, I don't know, Baldur's Gate than Skyrim, so I put Inquisition in this list instead. Anyway, both Origins and Inquisition are great games. You have my recommendations, that's for sure. Gothic series. Although morally they are all kinda old games, but if you are not a sucker for modern high-end graphics, try them out. From the first Gothic game released in 2001 to the last spin-off released in 2010 and named Arcania, most of those open-world RPGs have immersive stories, original worlds and gameplay that will pin you to your chair. Except probably Arcania. Yeah, just ignore Arcania, it's bad. Only 50% of its reviews are positive, it's literally shit. Avoid. Anyway, you can download various graphic enhancement mods so your Gothic games could look shiny as new. Also, there's a remake of the first Gothic game incoming. There's no release date yet, but graphics-wise it looks amazing, though gameplay-wise we will see. The demo version, called Gothic Playable Teaser, was not received very happily, to say the least. Immortals Fenyx Rising. I bought this game for a full price on the release day and I can proudly say that this is probably the best game I have played in the year of 2020s. I was expecting nothing from it. It looks childish and colorful and I don't like any of that. I was expecting a game for kids, you know, airy-fairy unicorn title where every hero is childishly dumb, puzzles are easy and fighting can be done while scrolling in the Instagram at the same time. But boy oh boy, I was so wrong. I started to feel that something is a sus with my prejudice when I heard the first joke, which was really good, I'm not gonna spoil it to you. And later I started to realize that the whole game is filled with jokes that I find funny, even in the character creation menu. Fun thing is that during the whole game, gods, Zeus and Prometheus are talking in the background about you in the past tense. Like everything you do has already happened. You know, when they say,
"And then he saw a terrible monster."
you can be sure that you will see a terrible monster in a second because it's your story that has already happened, but you don't know how yet. Only gods know. In other words, you have to live the story gods are talking about. So let's hope that they don't say anything like,
And then he put some pineapples on his potato salad and then some on his pizza as well.
oh, the horror. So instead of stupid dumbness, I got a great humor, fantastic gameplay and interesting puzzles. And I like puzzles. I'm one of those weirdos who can spend hours cracking them instead of looking for a quick answer on YouTube. I am the one who makes these answers on YouTube. I literally have more than 1 million views on one Skyrim puzzle I cracked 11 years ago. That's crazy. So if you don't like puzzles, avoid this game. And if you like them, for example, if solving puzzles was an entertaining activity for you in Skyrim, then this is one of the best games in this list for you. It is for me. You have my all recommendations. Gadonia. This is an open-world role-playing game inspired by old-school classics. You will become a simple traveler and adventure seeker. Explore a huge world, progress your character in any way you want, discover hidden treasures, mysteries, and fight a vast array of enemies. You can become a powerful mage, strong warrior, agile assassin, charismatic leader, skillful crafter, or legendary potato salad man. Okay, I'll be honest, they forgot to implement the last one along with Bear Bender and Penis Wizard. What a shame. Also in Gadonia, you will be able to own a house where you can grow plants and farm animals. They sort of implemented Stardew Valley inside this fighting and exploration RPG game. That is great, we all need some relaxation after a tiring dungeon exploration and grow some eggplants in our spare time. The game is created mostly by one man and it has very positive reviews on Steam. The Forgotten City. This may be the most distant game genre-wise from Skyrim, but at the same time it is the closest one. Let me explain. The Forgotten City started its life as a story mod for Skyrim, and it was so well received by the fans, developers decided that they have to dig the vein of gold and thus made a separate game. The Forgotten City, as a lot of gamers point out, is Groundhog Day in an ancient city. The mechanic here is simple. Everyone around you is dying for reasons unknown, because I don't want to spoil anything for you. And if that happens, you know, terrible dying of everyone, you can just go back to the portal and restart the day over and over again until you solve the thing. It's really one of the best adventure games there is, I'm not gonna lie. If you go to Steam, you will see the overwhelmingly positive review score. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Although it can look a bit childish for a mature player, Breath of the Wild has massive, memorable open world, and when it first showed up, many were thinking about Skyrim just in Zelda universe. You can go anywhere your eyes can see, fight various monsters, weird spirits, and even a few dragons. The most amazing thing you can do is to fly. Well, mostly downwards, but in this world it feels amazing. Game I talked about before, Immortals Phoenix Rising, shamelessly copied the mechanics of climbing and then jumping down and gliding from Breath of the Wild for a reason. It feels amazing. Although the game is released only on Nintendo machines, so if you want to play Zelda but have no means, play Phoenix Rising instead. Divinity 2 Developer's Cut. Game includes the Ultimate Edition of Divinity 2, which is about 100 hours of gameplay, as well as the Developer Mode, which allows you to play as any unit created in the game. Really cool feature, and on sale this game costs only €2. People on Steam are talking that Divinity 2 has quirky Terry Pratchett style of humor and huge replayability value. I have read many comments stating that people play the game 3 or even more times.
But why?
I don't know, I guess it's for you to find out. But there are some sour notes in the review section as well, stating that the game feels outdated and those reviewers are recommending to choose some other, more modern game instead. Well, it's up to you, I think this game is great. Might and Magic series. So, speaking about modern games, these are anything but modern. You know, like your haircut. Might and Magic series are the ultimate classic, I would even say the father and mother of open world games. You know, because of popularity and, of course, first Might and Magic was released back in 1986. But let's talk about more recent titles. If you like old school games, I am totally recommending you to try Might and Magic 6, 7 and 8. Because earlier games are just too old even for me, and I am almost 40 years old. And also you may want to try Might and Magic 10, which is quite a new game released in 2014 and powered by nostalgia, but it is more like an old school dungeon crawler than a semi-open world game because it is based on those older Might and Magic games. Anyway, these are great, and if you are a fan of Skyrim and want to try some old school classic, just play Might and Magic, it's amazing. Crimson Desert. This is a next-generation game that is still unreleased. It will launch someday this year or even the next one. At first it was planned and developed as an MMO title, but in the process something has changed, and now it seems that the game will be a single-player focused experience, which is why I put it in this list. For a few years now, gamers have been wondering if the shown footage is made with an actual gameplay engine or just a fancy cinematic destined to trick us. You know, just like vodka always tricks us into fighting with random gopniks in the dark, muddy streets. Wait, what do you mean by...
That never happened to me.
Have you even lived at all? So this gameplay footage, as you are seeing right now, was released a few months ago, and it kinda shows us that the previous showcase wasn't a trick, but rather a real deal. Game looks like if Shadow of War and Witcher 3 had a fancy baby. I don't know if fancy babies exist, but if they do, they look like this, and not like usual babies full of shit inside and out. I cannot wait. This may be the next hit in the open-world single-player fantasy RPG games universe. Or not. Greedfall. You'll have a complete freedom in character progression. Play as a male or female, customize your appearance, and freely choose your abilities, spells, and skills. So nothing like "you are the Dragonborn" for no reason bullshit here, and I know that many of you want to create your own protagonist instead of playing something that is created for us. Well, maybe The Witcher was an exception to this rule, but most of us want to play characters that resemble us in ethnic or some other way. You know, if you have big balls or 5 balls instead of 2, you want a character that also has 5 of them, you know, for better immersion. So Greedfall was created in 3 years and its budget was about $5 million. For a AAA open world game like this, it's the bare minimum for it to be good. Somewhat similar budget had the Kingdom Come Deliver in Steam, and Skyrim's budget was about 100 million. For it, you can literally create 20 games like Greedfall. So don't expect miracles, but Greedfall is a really decent game, and as I've said many times before, about 7 cold beers out of 10. Also, the second part, named Greedfall 2: The Dying World, is in the making. And now check out GOG Weekly Sale. Some of the games in this list are probably discounted today. Click on my link in the description below and explore hundreds of discounted deals. Also, refunds are supported for up to 30 days. That is great. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos like that. Have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.